Good evening, everyone. This is Tom the Wender, the conversationalist. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Make sure the bell's in the right place. Anyway, let's get with it. I want to talk about the CR budget. The one that keeps government running, not the real budget that they're supposed to pass months ago, but just the CR budget. Now, I don't know how else to say this, but are these politicians for real? Did they not get the memo that the people have voted and voted very strongly that we don't want this behavior? We don't want you to take a bill and stuff it full of pork, including a raise. Why do you need a raise? You guys make so much money on insider trading. You should be paying us to work there, not us paying you. It's a little frightening that people who supposedly are running our government are this uninformed, are this callous, that at this time they would be putting in all this pork for themselves. They sold us Obamacare and said we had to become part of it. And now they're going to exempt themselves from Obamacare? How does that work? How do you tell me I have to have the insurance through this major mechanism you put together that just adds another cost, and you're going to opt out? I, you know, remember, I'm an old guy and I've been around for a while, so things get jumbled a little bit. But are you stupid? There are people all over this country shaking their heads. You know why? Because everybody needs a budget. Everybody has to have a budget. I don't care if you make $17 an hour or $400 an hour. Everybody lives on a budget. You set yourself up for auto pay, so they don't turn off your phone because you forgot to pay it this month. You do all the convenience, right? You budget your money at the end of the 2 week period when you get paid. You get paid on Thursday or Friday. You're broke by Saturday. That's like in the 80 percentile of American people are truly broke the day after they get paid. Think about that. Think about only having enough money to do the bare essentials. And then you have these guys that come into office and ladies who have zero equity, no cash, no property. They got elected because they don't have any attachments. They just run through the forest, picking up as many votes as they can. They come to Washington, and within 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, they're millionaires. Do you think this happens by luck? Are these guys financial geniuses? No. They get there and somebody else teaches them system and they do work the system. And if you want to see a success of the system, look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at Chuck Schumer. I mean, these guys got more money than God, and God's got it all. That bill was 1,700 pages or 1,500 pages. I forget. I think it was 1741. Anyway, they got it with 20 hours to read it and vote on it. And that's the way all bills arrive. The bill might be 11, 12 pages, but the other 1,400 pages are add-ons for somebody's dam or a stretch of road, or which are things we need, but do they have to be involved in balancing the budget? Couldn't we just do it as a separate bill? See what I mean? Do a small compact bill that says we're going to carry on the government for 2 years and we're going to raise the debt limit because that's the only sensible thing, right? If you need more money, if you're not making ends meet, what do you do? you go out and get a side hustle. That's the way real people do it. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are going, what? What did he just say? It's important that most people live on a week to week budget and they don't have anything at the end. So for these people to sit up there, come to the deadline. I mean, if they don't pass it by midnight tonight, the government shuts down. Well, everybody says, "Oh, well, we've been through shutdowns before. It's not that bad." No, it is not that bad. We survived other shutdowns. We could survive another one. What's bad about it is people are not understanding that there's a change. The American people don't want this political. Once again, here goes the money in the cash jar. Bullshit anymore. We want you to be responsible. Just like we're responsible for our budget, you have to be responsible for the government's budget. So I shot off an email today to Elon, say, hey, oh, Elon, let's take it out of the hands of, you know, the budget process and put it into, some people that actually know how to put a budget together and then submit it to Congress, no more than 20 pages. And that's how we start funding bills. Because do you know how many bills are funded, but the monies never get dispersed? And then they're siphoned off for more important things? Let me say that again. They go on TV and they have this big spectacular about having $20 million to help kids with three toes, right? Great, great deal. Thank you, God, for helping these children. There's no money. None of the money has been spent because the grant policy is so restrictive that nobody qualifies. And that money just goes back into some slush fund in the general fund. So even when they're trying to do something good and right, they screw it up because there's no follow through. Let's be real specific about, I don't care whether it's Elon or Shawami or Trump, they're calling Elon the real president or the unelected real president. I don't care what political games you want to play. You can call him all the names you want. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit what you call him. I know if I was him, you know, you couldn't say things where that would get my dander up. I'd be so far beyond you, wouldn't care. And I think that's the way he is. And we know Trump doesn't care. I swear to God, the guy practices with people and in the mirror. Derogatory remarks people will say, and he has a funny retort already pre-programmed it in his head to put back. I think so. I do it. I practice answers and responses and things like that because I find that it makes me more prepared when I do a presentation. If you're prepared for, a good comic once told me, if you're prepared for what the heckler is going to say, you can destroy him. But if you aren't prepared and you get cold, uh, or you get flat-footed, they'll destroy you. So he said, always, always be in the back of your mind that somebody's going to say something. And here's a list of the things that they'll say, and here's a list of things you'll say just to beat them down. I love it when somebody yells out in the audience and then the comic takes off on them. It's always fun to watch the person shrink back into their chair. Um, but I'm off the subject. What I'm saying to you is the most important thing right now, today, you can't worry about anything else. It has to reaffirm in your head that Congress, the Senate, where's Joe Biden? Seriously, where's Joe Biden? He's the president of the United States until we change over in January. Why is he not out front on this? This is important things, Joe. Uh, are you really going to stand for this? Because I'm not. I emailed everybody I could think today. Had this really great idea. If you watch my Dunkin' Donuts one, the guys came up with using already established businesses to decentralize Washington, D.C. It's kind of funny. Go watch the video. Uh, yeah, like using DoorDash and uh, two college hunks in the truck. You know, they get stuff moved out of DC in a flash. And watch that video. It was a real cute video. Um, let me say, this is Tom the Wetner, the conversationalist. Like, subscribe. Give me some comments. Uh, it's always important that we have that conversation, not that argument. Also, I want you to remember my friends at St. Jude Children's Hospital. Good work by good people. 100% of your donation goes for services, not only to the person that's sick, the child, but to the family. And also, Aortic Hope. Yo, Karen with a C. These are survivors of aortic disease, helping other survivors of aortic disease. Because once the doctor's done with you, they put you out in the real world and you don't know what to do. Your first life, pre aortic disease, went swimming. Your afterlife is a little mixed up, and you are mixed up, and the whole world's upside down. So, having someone walk you through that transition is very helpful. It took me a long time to find the aortic hope, and I found them just at the right time. So, please go over to Aortic Hope, say hello to Karen, like and subscribe, comment, watch some of the videos. Some of the videos are not only funny but entertaining, and people have a strength that you'll never believe, and they impart that in very humorous ways. All right, let's get back on the topic, and the topic is CR bill to keep the government running. All right. So what happens if they close down the government, right? Say midnight comes and goes and we don't vote for it. Well, you know what happens? We have to inconvenience the politicians. What do I mean by that? They got to come back Monday before Christmas and do it all over again. Or they can just stay home and not do it until after the first of the year, and the government will go on as it always has. You know why? Because there's enough money in the pipeline. There's enough bureaucrats just to run this little enclave they made at Washington, D.C. We really do have that ability just to float the government for 2 weeks. So everybody who's panicking that, end of the world's coming, nah, not that way. Not that way. But what way it is stupidity. And we have to be real careful between now and when they make the transition in January. Seems like they're out for blood. They're going to spend money hand over fist. They're going to porkerize every bill that comes through. This is a Congress and a Senate couldn't get a bill through them. Now all of a sudden they're pushing them through in 12 hours. You couldn't get a bill passed, all the obstacles for the last 3 years. But now at the end, man, these guys are jetting them. So be aware of that. That's where the danger is. How much damage can they do prior to leaving? It's like the tenant who gives the eviction notice has to be out by Saturday, and it destroys the place before then. I think these politicians are just trying to grab with both hands. But I could be wrong. People can, show that they are better than I think they are. Uh, it's one of the things I have. I don't treat people fairly. I make them work for whatever opportunities I have to give them. I used to just give it away, but life has taught me you can't do that because if you give something away for free, it has no value. Let me say that again. Anytime you give something free to somebody, there's no value in it. So why would they take care of it? Why would they even, throw it in the corner and hopefully you'll use it someday? What we're doing right now is a social experiment at the tip of the point of the blade. We are going to try to undo almost 40 years of garbage government. You have President Trump, and I think it was a good thing that he had 4 years between each time because it gave him time to reflect on what went wrong the first time. And obviously, what went wrong was he thought he needed political operators uh, with him, and they all screwed him and lied to him, and did things behind his back, and it was a bad issue. I think he learned that, and you notice that he has a lot more business-minded people. People who started companies, grew them. Schwammy, Elon. They uh, even Kennedy. I mean, he ran river keepers for like 40 years, and he's the one man that is responsible for cleaning up the filthiest river in the United States, the Hudson River. And he was directly responsible for that. He was the head of the uh, river keepers. So he has that business mind. I believe that. I believe some of the things that he says out loud shouldn't be said out loud, but Kennedys have always been that way. All the Kennedys. If it was in their head, it was out their mouth. Who does that sound like? Okay. There's also another route that we have to be very careful with, not only the spending, but then also the military placement. But what I mean by that is what's happening over at the Pentagon. I've never seen the Pentagon this quiet for this long. Think back, when was the last time there was even a press conference out of the Pentagon? I looked it up today. I did a dive on it. And been easily more than a month, less than two. Now they give that briefing, but all that is talking points. Every morning they give a briefing, and I catch it, but lately it's been nothing. There's everything you could have found on CBS News. So what's happening at the military level? Where is all these generals that campaigned for Biden and had all these formal affairs, and now all of a sudden they're gone. They're disappeared into the woodwork. Did they disappear into the woodwork in hopes that Trump would forget about them and keep them on board? Or did they go into the woodwork because there's something happening? I mean, the drones, they're everywhere, up and down the East Coast, all the way out to the West Coast. We have drones everywhere. Some of them are helicopters, some of them are planes. They even pointed out two stars, and another guy tracked the space station. Come on, guys. A drone is a drone. Everything else doesn't get into the conversation. However, why would the government, and particularly the Department of Defense, have drones over military bases and not know what's going on? because that's what they said. They don't know what's going on. Well, that scares me a little bit about our military. Or does it scare me because of who the military is working with? Dun, 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 dun. See what I mean? Who who is the military? And by that I mean the generals and those guys. Who are they working for real? Are they working for the American people? Or are they working for themselves? Or are they working for a foreign government? Think about that. How much damage somebody at the general level could do before somebody said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Could do a lot of damage. So I'm always suspicious when something like that happens. You notice that the last two Mondays, no statistics out of the FBI. Isn't that weird? They would give that briefing and tell you how many people they arrested and or what, and the crime averages and everything. It was almost a 2 hour briefing every Monday morning. They're not having them anymore. Gee, I wonder if that's because everybody said you can't report your own stats. Gosh, there's so much going on right now. As Americans, we have to decide on what we're going to support, what we're not going to support, and stay true to the values that got President Trump here and got you here. It is so close. It is within our reach. I'm talking 30 days from now. We have to hold on to get to the point where we can start collapsing this bureaucracy. We have to collapse. If we don't, we can't afford this cost of government. We cannot afford this cost of government. We cannot afford the IRS using 1980s technology. We can't afford to have 78,000 people to process IRS payments or payouts when you have a computer system that can do it, one, faster, two, less less mistakes, and three, once it's processed, the data file is held for as long as you want it. Right now, if you had to go back 3 years at the IRS, it would take you almost that long for somebody to find it because they have warehouses and warehouses and warehouses full of paper documents waiting to be scanned in, whatever they do to digitize it. Why don't we start at digitizing? You know what I mean? You got the form, put it up, type in the information, send it up. Now it's just data, right? So it gets processed and then it's held in some undisclosed location. Hopefully somewhere away from people because they make a lot of noise. So anyway, these are things I think about. I think about how can we physically downsize this government? Because by evidence with this bill, the Senate and Congress have no idea how to do it. I don't even think they understand that it's arrived. By putting this bill out and only having 20 hours to read 700, I mean, 1,700 pages of bullshit. The first 11 pages or 20 pages was the actual save the government. And the rest of it was all pork, all spending on other things that people just attached 10 pages to the bill. So when you pass the CR bill, you pass them all. Isn't that scary? That's what they've been doing since the mid 80s. They've been piggybacking bills, and that's why we're in the situation we are. We have to just take it back. Just take a step back. And what I mean by a step back, I mean we need to look at everything. If the IRS is spending more money than if we spent the money to digitize everything, do it. That's good business. That's not even a hard decision. That's a business decision. If there's a better way to do something, be innovative, do it. If the FBI is bloated by 80%, why are we holding on to these people? Now, you know, every department across the United States is short of people. And FBI agents are truly trained to the max. I mean, they have their own training facility. And then they have another facility for advanced training. Scary, right? Not paramilitary, right? Good. So, you know, these guys can do a lot of good work out there. And probably 40% of them, according to Schwammy, uh, are a retirement age. They're just hanging on for a boost in their retirement. So I think there's physical ways of handling this situation. I mean, there's FBI offices all over the country. Just, you know, I don't know, do the math, find out how many offices across the country, do the division, send that many people to each office. That's a good way to start. And then after that, then they can trickle down to the local departments or whatever, or retire, just go away. That's what you know, the handwriting's on the wall, guys. You can stay until you're prosecuted or you can leave now. And as far as the CIA, it's totally lost its mission and it's gone, but they're still funding them. There's like 9 lines that nobody knows about. There's a oversight committee of about 7, 3 congressmen and the rest senators, or I don't know how the breakup is, but it's called oversight. And the budget comes through in one big lump sum. They don't, this is crazy. They don't have to explain it to the GSA what all this money's for. They just want a lump sum to drop into the bank account so the CIA can spend it in any way they wish. And as far as I know, there's no oversight within the CIA. And of course, we know that they violated their charter. They started working within the United States. You can't have that. You can't have spies spying on the people who pay them to spy. Just doesn't work. So all these things are happening. All these things are going to happen in the next, you know, 4 to 3 years. You know, 4 weeks to 3 years, because you know that's how long it takes Trump to get in, and then he's giving it till his 3rd year. He wants everything done. Wants to play golf in his 4th year. He says can't get reelected, so he might as well go play golf. I think it's doable. I think it is. I don't think it's pie in the sky. I don't believe it's pie in the sky. I think with all the brains and all the background of everybody that's involved, I think it can be done. But it can't be done unless the American people get behind it. Unless we do better and we're trying to change. You know, even if you're extreme right wing, you need to change. You need to come back into the center. if you're extreme left wing, you got to come back. Living on the fringes, you get the fringe. So just collapse your world a little bit. Don't be so judgmental. Or right or left. I don't care who you are. Just shut the judgmental part of your brain off for a while and see if you can live a more peaceful and uh, community oriented thoughts rather than destruction. Is it going to be easy? No. It's always hard to change. Even good change is hard. But this is something we have to do. And we have the opportunity. You're not going to get this opportunity again. We fail this time. Forget it. It's not going to happen. But we need to put the effort and the time into this and make sure that we are committed to change. Isn't it funny how we're changing for earlier system, a smaller government, something from the 1950s to the 80s? It's always interesting me how when the Romans came to the end of their run, it was chaos, chaos. And here we're making a big change to American society, and hopefully it's not going to be chaos because chaos never produces anything good. I want to talk to Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever the next gen is. I don't even think they gave him a name yet. We looked it up once, didn't we, Josh? And but I want to talk to you guys. Listen, I know that there's all this internet bullshit going on, and it doesn't matter to me what the internet says. I always like the creative people, but the rest of them can, kiss my patootie. You can either opt in or you can opt out. You have the same abilities as anybody else. You know, the boomers or the Gen Xers. You guys can make your own mind up, uh, decide where you want to be. And that's good enough for me. And it's good enough for most people. And the people that it isn't good enough for, that want you to conform to whatever they think it is, take them out of your life and don't worry about them. Everybody has to come on their own. You're either going to want to do this change or you're going to fake it and then blow up one day. And that's never good for anybody. Well, the most important thing, I guess, we're going to take out of this because I'm going to get it done here right now, um, is change is never, ever going to come easy. So just hold on. Understand that we're going to go through a lot of bumps and ruts and craziness, but please hold on. Hold on to the thought that it will be a better world. It will be a better America. You'll be able to afford, you know, at least some of the luxuries of life the way I enjoyed them in the 50s and 60s and 70s, partial of the 80s. We had money coming in hand over fist and everything was affordable. And I think we can have that again. We just need to work at it. Well, I'm Tom the Winner, the conversationalist. I hope that you got something out of this. I hope you send some comments to me. I enjoy talking to you like this. I would like a little more comments, but that's okay. It's coming around. Tom the Winner, the conversationalist. I'm out.